G'day, I am Debbie O'Shea, and this is the Crescendo Music Education Podcast. This podcast is being recorded on the lands of the Turrbal people. I acknowledge them as the traditional owners of the land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. They were the first music makers on this land. And I would like to welcome back to the Crescendo Music Education Podcast, Beth Duhon. Hello, Beth.
Hello, Debbie. We're back.
We're back. It's so lovely to have you back. And we're both pretty passionate about this wellbeing business and being the best that we can be. And I'm going to start by doing a really brief bio. I'm sure it won't do you justice. It's just a summary for those people who haven't heard you yet. So Beth Duhon is a music educator with over 20 years of teaching experience across early childhood, elementary and secondary music, as well as private horn instruction. A professional performer turned passionate advocate for music teacher wellbeing. Beth now focuses on self-care for educators through conference presentations, her online community, Self-Care for the Music Educator, and her podcast, Happier Music Teacher, as well as her book. And we're going to have a little discussion about books today. And if you have not, oh, there it is. Oh, I love it. Okay, hold on. You flash yours. I'm going to flash mine. Okay, there you go. People who are just listening will have to get onto YouTube and have a look at Beth and I flashing our books. Now, you may know Beth from episodes 83 to 87, where we looked at all the well-being components of her book. So, and I also read a bigger bio. So go back and have a listen if you have missed those. But this episode, and in fact, I think we'll do two because there's so much to cover. We'll do two episodes. We're actually going to look into more the personal stories behind our books, because it's a big thing to write a book. Can I just say? So,
agreed.
Welcome, Beth, and I can't wait to get into some questions with you. How's life been treating you since we last spoke?
You know, I think it's been almost exactly 2 years, Debbie, or else very close, because I think I saw a Zoom invite from 2023. So yes, I guess we do this every 2 years, whether we need it or not, friend.
I love it. Okay. I'll send you a calendar invite for 2 years from now. Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, I love it. All right. Now I'm going to ask you a little question that's something to do with your life and your book, and exploring those moments and choices that led us to writing a book. So here's our first question. What small action changed everything for you?
I think for me personally, getting up early before my family has been such a game changer. It was such a long habit to adopt. I didn't know it was going to be so beneficial, but it is huge to not feel like I'm flying out the door in the morning, to get some time before I'm needed as a wife, as a mother, as a teacher. For me, I call myself a type B plus, but I'm on B plus. I'm midway between a type A and a type B, I swear. And so for that type B plus thing in the morning, it really helps me to sit down with the notes app in my phone. I set up like a checklist, and I literally go through almost every minute of my day and rehearse it in my head ahead of time. And having that early morning time to do that and get in front of my day has been huge.
Wow. Yeah. And yes, it allows you to be prepared and ready. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that.
So what small change, let me get my question straight. What small action has changed everything for you, Debbie?
There are many. I'll just mention a couple of small actions that led me to actually write the book. And then Reflection on small actions in my life. Okay. So the first small action that seemed very big at the time was taking leave to do a job that was my dream job and betting on myself and that falling apart. So it didn't work out. So that was just like one, not so much the accumulative. But what happened, the implications from doing that are massive, or I would still be at my beautiful school, and I would not have made all of these fairly big changes that are all happening now. So sometimes, is that a sliding doors moment? I'll go that way or that way, So as in one little step, I think that step set me on pathways I didn't realise it would. And as for the things that have changed that are more cumulative that I do, like you said, like your morning routine, I would have to agree that it is a morning routine for me and an evening routine. Sleep. Actually, no, I think I would pick sleep. The fact that I used to be the night owl and up working until some ridiculous time, and then always tired. Strange that. The next day, making myself have a bedtime, I think was the biggest game changer. I think that was one of the first major, it's a small action, but it's a major change. And it took a long time to adjust. Like I would lay there going, oh, yeah, like how am I supposed to sleep? This is stupid. But I made myself do it, and I also get up earlier and do a daily walk with my dog. That's non-negotiable.
I love that in your book. I thought that was fabulous. And the way that you wake up with a glass of water, I was like, I'm waking up with a glass of coffee. I'm heading straight to my Keurig, but you're waking up with a glass of water. Yep. Maybe 2. Did I remember that correctly?
2, yes. Well, 1 just isn't enough. And I don't know if I said this in the book. It was because of Jim Quick. I've listened to his podcasts and I've read his book, Quick Brain, as in KWIK, I think it is. And he talked about how your brain is really dehydrated after sleep. So I went, okay, I'll just get up and bathroom first. And then a glass of water. And I tell you, I can't live without my morning coffee, but that's a reward after my walk. So
that's such a good tweak.
Yeah, it's sort of habit stacking, I guess. So what small actions changed everything for me? Habit stacking. You do this, but then that does this. And also I still don't function very well in the mornings. My husband gives me, what does he say? He says that I'm just like in sort of zombie mode and I'm just standing there and I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to be doing. So the more I can automate, yes, I know, I walk to the kitchen, I have my water, I walk back. Self-preservation. And then by the time I get to school, I'm sort of a relatively normal person.
Your brain's rehydrated by that point. You're ready to go.
Yes. So yeah, I guess that's, and I should just say to our listeners now, is there one small action that they could take to work towards their well-being or their goals? Their small action might be to work towards something that they do. Maybe they want to write a book. And if you just commit to doing it every day, and if you skip a day, yeah, don't be too hard on yourself. But I'm wondering what our listeners are thinking. What one small action could you commit to? Perhaps contact a colleague, get a link to a great YouTube clip from a friend, some little action that can help you improve your work on your home life. I think
that's one of the ways. I'm sorry. I think that's one of the ways we're so aligned, Debbie, because even before this is 2 years ago. I'm not even sure the book was an idea yet in your brain, but I think we're so aligned with the well-being. I think we're so aligned with the micro actions or tiny habits And so I think it's no surprise that we both have well-being books that aren't just for music teachers, but certainly resonate with music teachers.
Yes, I really wanted to make my book have a wider appeal. But by the same token, you have to write from what you know. And
Yes.
I know about being a music educator. And so I have to write from there. But I did include personal stories and more general stories from life. And I'm hoping it is valuable to a wider audience. But I do think music teachers are the ones, same with your book. I think we're the ones that go, okay, I get that. Like I remember in your book about the snacking and the having a little snack, like, because you probably won't have time for lunch, so have your little thing of nuts or, whatever. Now, not everyone in the workplace can relate to that. Most normal people have actual lunch breaks.
Can you imagine? They go out to lunch with their friends for an hour. I mean, it's just, what is that? I don't
know. I mean, we all know that there's times where you're just flat out getting to the bathroom.
That's a serious stressor. Yes. I was reading through my book again, and I read through yours again because I read yours this summer. So it'd been a while since I'd interacted with either one. And yes, I actually addressed the bathroom a fair bit in my book. And I think that's not normal for the rest of the world, but for a music teacher, absolutely. It's a stressor.
It sure is. I recall going back a bit when I was doing some curriculum writing, and I had some days in at head office, just a couple of days here and days there. And I just remember being so excited that I could get up and go to the toilet whenever I wanted to.
You have arrived.
I know. I'm going, this is amazing. This is how the other half lives. Anyway.
And it really is. It's a luxury they just take for granted, but we do not.
Uh-huh. And the same with, while we're on the luxuries, the other thing I think is a luxury is enjoying a hot coffee.
Oh, for sure.
By the time you get to it, yeah.
I have thrown away so many cups of tea that were just hopes and dreams. It seemed like a good idea that I am going to brew myself a cup of hot tea in my Keurig. Oh, this is going to be so great. I find it a couple hours later. It's like, well, that was a good idea. That was cute.
Great idea. So what you got? A hopes and dreams cup of tea. Yeah.
Hopes and dreams.
I love it.
It's iced tea now.
Iced tea. Well, but that's actually sometimes drinkable. But I cannot drink cold black coffee, which I have black coffee, no sugar. And once it's cold, I'm just not that interested in it. All
That's
right.
fair.
Now, we're going to get on to the next question about writing our books. What was the chapter that we almost cut, or the section that we almost cut? Or maybe you didn't have one, but is there something that you thought, ooh, maybe I shouldn't write about this?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. When you asked this question. And so I sat down with your questions this morning and worked through them a little bit, kind of like a journaling exercise. And this actually happened before the book. So I don't know if I shared with you, but before my book was a book, it was a Texas Music Educators Association clinic. And it was during the pandemic. And so it was virtual. So it was literally to submit a video to TMEA. So I had a computer paraprofessional teacher film me in from the green screen in the library, and she edited it, and we got together after school, and I paid her, and we filmed this thing. And there was a length requirement. I don't remember what it was, but one of the things was we were a little short, and she had asked me about my origin story. So I offhandedly told her, I teared up. It was like pulling teeth. And she said, we're a little short on the video. I think we're going to include it. And I was thinking, oh, don't include that in the video. It's about when I hurt my foot on campus. And I don't want everyone to know that I was on workers' comp. And I don't want everybody to know that my son was struggling with behavior. And that my joke is, but a not funny joke, it was the same year as Britney Spears. When she had her meltdown around 2016 to 2017, only I didn't shave my hair. But it really was a Britney Spears type of year. It was terrible. And sharing it publicly, I'd rather take a beating. So therefore, a time when I'd be in clinics or master classes, I would just share the video of it because I was too chicken to share it publicly because I thought I would get emotional, or people would have follow-up questions. And it really is, and I do want to be cautious because some of, with my son, he's his own person. So it's only a limited point, my tale to tell. But, that vulnerability piece is huge. The story is not the same without that. How would I know how deeply and personally that I need self-care if I don't share with you what a train wreck of a year that was? And that if we need it on a regular time, like I said, everything cratered and all that perfection facade I was trying just crumbled. There was nothing perfect to stand on. And so, like I said, I think that's really the magic. And it's helped me get more vulnerable in my podcast and things to share when I'm struggling. And like I said, only things that are my story to tell. I try to be that way. But perfect is boring. And I wasn't perfect. Who was I fooling?
Yeah, no, there's not many of us around that are perfect.
That's right. Except for good hair today, Debbie.
Good hair. Yes, we've got good hair. Okay, so yes, everyone who's, again, listening to the podcast, go to YouTube just so you can see we're both having a good hair day.
It's video proof.
Oh, I love it. Because believe me, they're not all good hair days. Do you know what? My answer to this question, the chapter or section we almost cut, I think my answer is absolutely exactly the same as yours. And the other thing that, before I go into those details, when I listen to a lot of podcasts, surprise, I listen to music education podcasts, but I also listen to business podcasts, and there's some people I just love listening to. In fact, I've mentioned some of them in the book, the Amy Porterfield and Michael Hyatt and people like that. I love listening to them. And they all talk about, I'm going to use air quotes here, vulnerability, be authentic, and you're just going, oh, yeah. But what they're saying is actually really, really true. I just think you've got to be careful. I think some of the more influencer style people are trying to add some authenticity or vulnerability in not a genuine way. But if it's genuine authenticity, it's not perfection. And I think people relate to it. So I'm exactly in the same boat as you. And I think my book wouldn't be the same without a little bit of maybe oversharing. But like you, one of my issues, I have a very private family. I've got 2 adult sons. Neither is very big on social media. They sort of have it, but not really. My husband does not really believe in social media. Not interested. Doesn't understand why I love it so much and why I'm so interactive. I think I curate it carefully, but I love my social media. So I love the way you put it. You've got to be careful. It's not your story to tell. So there are many things I guess I could have got into that I thought, but that's not for me to say. It's not only my story. But I needed to show people not only about my work, but what I'm comfortable with sharing about my personal life. Because let's face it, they're intertwined.
Yes.
It's your life. So how can you talk just about what you do at work without including home? How can I talk about not being super tired at school, if I didn't have my morning routine? And so there's that sort of thing. But I think for me, the most one was and I added it later and I took it out and then I added it. It was talking about Brett, our son, our second son died when he was 8 days old. It's a lot of years ago. Now, but how many years ago? 29 years ago. But I still, obviously, it still affects you a great deal. And I thought, do I write about Brett, and I didn't in great detail, I don't think.
No, you didn't. No, you did not. But when I wrote a review for you, I said, yeah, now I'm going to cry.
Yes,
You would not expect someone as cheery as to have some deep hurt and professional disappointments, things that you would not know, things that you would not assume. And like I said, and it's not just, you weren't sharing it just for the sake of being vulnerable. There was a need there to share it. And I hope that was healing for you on some level to be able to share it with your audience.
I think so. And that's very kind of you to say. Thank you. I just also felt that I couldn't not mention him. Do you know, so that for me was, I guess, what I almost cut and thought, no, it has to stay to just paint an accurate picture, I guess.
I literally reread it this morning, and I just thought that you wrote it so beautifully, and it didn't need 3 chapters. It needed you to speak your truth and, be healed and speak your truth, I think was really important. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. That's very kind. I hope people do take it with that intent. So, all right, hold on. Just a moment. I'm all good now. Sip of water.
Yeah.
Okay. And before we go to the next question, I'm just going to ask our listeners, what's something in your work or your home life that you're hesitating to share that perhaps would help a relationship or an understanding? Because I think a certain amount of vulnerability is a powerful thing. And I think if you shut down completely, it's going to damage relationships. So just asking the listeners, is there a little step that you could take more towards that vulnerability this week?
I have a nasty example that goes along with this about our house today. So we're tidy. I'm not a clean freak. Like I said, type B plus, solidly type B plus. Well, I happened to take a peek underneath our sectional sofa today, and oh my goodness. Clearly that thing had not been moved and swept under since my son was a preteen, and it was terrible. So we are pushing back all the sections. I'm having him clean under it, and I was ashamed, right? But I thought there's a story in here for my podcaster Debbie's, because yes, it's there. Nobody knows, but it's not getting better. It's not getting addressed. It's not getting healed. It's not less nasty. So let's deal with our mess, right? Push it back, deal with it. And then you feel so good when you moved, when you've done it. I think there's such a thing as oversharing. I think you have to know, like I said, I think we're very much cut from the same cloth that way. We are, we're not trying to get clicks or likes or something about it. It really is about, like I said, being authentic and vulnerable with our audience, but not past where we need to go.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Could not agree more. Yes. I must, I'm not into oversharing. I hope people don't see it as that. Anyway.
Not at all.
All right. Well, we are up to question 3, which is the third question of this episode. And then I'm going to have Beth back for a second episode, and we're going to look at some other aspects of the book. So here we go. Question 3. The unexpected ripple effect. So was what happened through the publication of your book, or maybe even the writing of your book, that happened that you didn't expect?
So I'm going to take it a little bit sideways and off the book and onto the podcast. I get a little bit more direct feedback about the podcast than I do about the book sometimes. Per usual, I was scared to start the podcast. God clearly called me to do it. I would say 12 to 18 months before I did it. And I would just sit and stew and plan. And, the tech isn't that hard. It's really not that crazy of a technology to do. And I just put it off and drag my feet. And it's just been such an unexpected joy. And, at first it felt like, okay, I was happy for any downloads. And then this year we passed a podcast download milestone for me. Probably not for other podcasts.
What was it? Can you share?
10,000.
Oh, yay!
Yeah. Like I said, and I know there's some podcasts out there where that's just nothing. But for me, it was a milestone. And I can see now that also has a compound interest effect. And even more to me is when occasionally I'll pray on the podcast. And it is, speaking of vulnerability, it is awkward as anything. I feel very uncomfortable, but feel called and led to do it. And those are the episodes I get the most positive feedback from. Not necessarily in a review per se, but people will private message me and say, thank you so much for your Christmas prayer podcast. I listened to it over and over in December. Or, thank you for the back to school podcast. So that's surprising to me. But once again, that vulnerability piece, but also that being faithful in the small steps that, I'm not going to be the next Michael Hyatt, but to have that amount of influence with, some music educators where I can help a few of them every week is just such an honor.
Yes.
So it's my turn to turn on you, Debbie. I'm sorry. So what is your unexpected ripple effect?
Well, I'm not sure yet. My book sales haven't been I've only had one report and I self-published, and they've not been as big. Don't even ask me numbers. Numbers are not a strength of mine. Numbers pop out of my head. Like I'd like to tell you how many downloads my podcast has because I have looked it up, but I can't tell you. Numbers, I know that is just a story I'm telling myself, that I'm not good at numbers because I could make myself be, but I'm not good at numbers. And I thought, I'm just not sure I'm reaching people. Then I tell myself, like you do, with the podcast and with everything I do, if I've helped a couple of music teachers on their journey, it's worth it. I tell myself that, but the other part of me goes, but I want to reach more people. I want to help more people. So yes, it's a little bit of a challenge for me. So I got a very unexpected message talking about the ripple from a teacher in the USA who bought my book and read it, and she loved it so much that she's working with the wellbeing committee of her staff, and they're going chapter by chapter, and they're going through my book like each meeting each week or fortnight, and they're looking at one chapter and they're answering the reflection questions, because I have questions at the end of most chapters have questions, and they're doing it as a staff wellbeing exercise and looking at what they can do to improve things in the school for the staff and for the students. And I went, oh my goodness.
That's amazing.
That's gold. That's worth it.
That is absolutely amazing. Well, and I don't know about you, I can get on my rant, but I don't know much in education, these big sweeping initiatives that we hear about or get told about. And then in next year, there's a new big sweeping initiative and we forget the acronyms. So I really feel like the premise of your book about the small changes is just so spot on. And like I said, with all your years of experience in education, there's no such thing as an overnight success.
And I love it. The new broom comes in and wants to sweep clean. I'd love to give you some specific examples, but I can't because I'm very within my system. We've got to be very careful. But like you said, the acronyms, the big changes. Oh, we're all going to now improve how we teach reading. Here's a whole new system. Go, learn it, do it. You're going, oh, for goodness sake. Or we're going to have this whole new behavior issue, this behavior program, and all of the kids are going to magically be fabulous. And yet you still see teachers walking past unacceptable behavior without calling it out. And you're going, hold on, if we just need to address the tiny little actions. The behaviour you walk past is the behaviour you accept. So by not saying, oh, are you supposed to be in this area? Yeah, off you go. Oh, no,
Yes.
Off your bike. You've got to walk your bike through the school. You know that. Like doing those little things. I'm not talking about being cranky teacher.
No.
Though sometimes you come across that way because you're pulling them up. And yet you will see other teachers walking past exactly the same behaviour. I mean, this is just an example. And, you know, you could fix almost everything by just saying, just do your little part all day. Then we don't need a huge initiative, just those little tiny steps.
I am so there. Do you follow Principal Lamb online?
No.
So he is the principal that has a rolling desk, and I think it's Principal Lamb. And he has a rolling desk. That's kind of what he got famous for with his reels or whatever about that. And I just love his wisdom. And he says, what you permit, you promote. So it's very much like what you're saying about the behavior. You know, he just drops truth bombs all day long about those type of things. So I really feel like your book nails it. Like I said, and nothing is too small. When you're a professional musician and you are cleaning up a part, nothing is too small.
Mm-hmm.
And no improvement is too small.
And that's the difference between excellence and good, or, you know, good, very good, excellent. It's a matter of, you know, having the rest the right length so that silence goes through the ensemble, or, you know, little things like that. And yeah, that's what it's about. I love it. Principal Lamb, let's get back to that. And I might put the link in the show notes because that sounds interesting. What's a rolling desk? What do you mean?
So he literally takes a rolling cart and that is his desk. He does not sit in his office. He has his walkie and his cell phone and just a rolling cart and his laptop and some snacks and some water, and that is his office. So his whole staff is like that. They're very visible throughout the school. It sounds like a dream.
Wow. He does sound like a good boy. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to look him up. That sounds...
I think he has plenty of applicants for his jobs.
Yeah, I bet everyone would want to work in his school. Oh, I love it. Okay. We're going to close off this episode, but I do have just one question for the listeners based around this unexpected ripples. I'd like all of my lovely listeners and your lovely listeners, are there some small actions that you're already doing that are creating ripples? And maybe you haven't noticed, and I think in our job, we're definitely creating those ripples. We're creating lifelong learners, things that happen as our students grow up that we never know about, but your small actions are creating those ripples. So keep it going, keep it joyous, do those little things and have a look around and see what you're doing that's creating the positive ripples, because I think there's a lot there if you take the time to have a look. And I would like to thank Beth for joining me, and I will get her back on the next episode. So I'll see you soon. Beth, bye.
The other side, Debbie. Bye.
And welcome to the Crescendo Music Education Podcast to Beth Duhon. Hello, Beth. Welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be back, Debbie.
Now, if you did not listen to the previous episode, pop back, have a listen. We're going to do a little more digging into the practical impact of writing our books and getting our books into the world, because it's a pretty big thing to do. It's a big commitment, and it's quite an emotional roller coaster, I found, to be writing the book. But let's talk about impact and practical takeaways. So The first question I'm going to throw to Beth. Ready?
Ready.
The reader email that affected you deeply, maybe even made you cry a little bit. Can you share some messages that you got?
I sure can. And like I said, sometimes podcasting or book writing can be lonely. You don't always get the you're putting a lot out into the world and you don't always get the feedback. I like to joke that I have 2 super fans, but it's probably true. And one of my super fans, like I said, once again, not telling too much of her story to tell, but she lost some students this summer in a real tragic way and had to go on. And she said, August, I'm going to get sad now. August was feeling like the end of the year already. It was just really hard to get up the gumption, to start the school year. You didn't have that beginning of the school year energy. You felt deflated and sad. And it was just a cloud that hung over the school year. And she's a long-term friend. She's a long-term podcast listener, but she, like I said, she was an early adopter of the book, and she's told me that my wisdom, which it always floors me when someone tells me I have wisdom, that my wisdom was helping her through a really difficult school year, and called me the amazing Beth, which she's so sweet and so kind that when she's hurting like that and in a bad way, she's the first to encourage me with something like that.
Oh, and how wonderful to know that you helped. Like, I think that's what we're trying to do. We're helping, supporting. I know Crescendo Music Education's byline that I wrote quite a while ago, and every now and then I think, should I change it? But it's connecting, supporting and inspiring music educators. And I think that's what both of our books do, I hope. Extra support.
And life is heavy. When we talk about some of these things, daily life is a lot, but when you go through something heavy, it's nice to have something extra to rely on. Mm. And like I said, I think some of those prayer episodes people will listen to on repeat just because they want some positivity in their ear and on the way to work. Yeah. So let me turn to you. What reader email made you cry, Debbie?
Well, in the last episode, I shared about the teacher using it in that wellbeing group. That was pretty magic.
That's really great.
And I might just read out a couple of short emails, if I may, because
go for it.
It's better in their words. So Amy Maxwell, thank you, said, I very much enjoyed reading your book all the way from Alberta, Canada. Hi, other side of the world. Oh, that's the other thing that blows me away, is the geography side of things. You don't know where it's going. I think that's magic. Anyway, sorry, back to the email. I purchased your ebook several months ago in August and still find myself rereading sections as they really resonate with me. It's nice to be able to go back to answer the questions you have at the end of each chapter for your readers. Thank you for being such an inspiration. And thank you, Amy. It just makes your day, doesn't it? You go, oh my goodness, that's what I want to do. I want to inspire. I want to help. I want to support. And you said, I've done it. Thank you.
Well, if you're like me, Debbie, yeah. I'm a words of affirmation person when they talk about the love languages. And so I can live off a good compliment for a week. I don't want to be as needy as I am about that, but I'm telling you, if you send me and like I said, a lot of mine have been messages, but even a review or something, it's just, it's a God breeze. It always comes at just the right time. When I'm feeling low, that's when I'll see something like that or hear something like that, just when I need it.
Yes. And I think that we all should take time to take that on board, because I think it's very easy as a teacher when you might get the complaining email because you didn't do something right, or someone got left off the email list or whatever, and you take that to heart straight away. I think we need to spend more time taking to heart all of the wonderful messages that happen.
Yeah. I agree. And reviews are life for authors and podcasters. And so if that helps you to do the right thing for somebody, yes, reviews are life.
I love it. Oh, actually, before I read the second email, Let me put that in the show notes, Beth. I'll put in where some links where people might be able to rate and review the podcasts and our books and that sort of thing. So let's put some links in the show notes in case people want to come and do the right thing and shoot.
That would be fabulous, because I am not raking in the reviews on F-Flat Books or Amazon. So if anyone would like to take the time to write a review, I would cherish it.
Okay, wonderful. We'll get all those links in show notes. And I'll just read this lovely email from Michelle Lupton. Thank you, Michelle. Okay. As a fellow music educator, I found the stalagmite effect both inspiring and deeply relatable. Debbie O'Shea beautifully captures the true essence of teaching, the patience, persistence, and quiet growth that often happens unseen, just like the slow, steady formation of a stalagmite. The stalagmite effect is a beautifully honest and deeply personal reflection on life, teaching, creativity, and growth. Debbie shares so many practical gems, from grabbing the glimmers to habit stacking, mindfulness, gratitude, importance of kindness, celebrating small wins, and harnessing the quiet power of effort and consistency. Her lifelong passion for music education, her commitment to empowering colleagues, and her love for nurturing students shine through every page. Her journey is inspiring, authentic, and brave. Debbie reminds us that real growth, both in music and in life, happen one small intentional step at a time.
Oh. I could live 2 weeks off that compliment, Debbie. That's amazing.
I think I'm going to live a year off that one. Thank you, Michelle. It means the world, doesn't it? If once you know that all of this work, because it's a lot of work. I wrote my book every day, so I had a term off, 10 weeks of school off, plus the Christmas holidays before and the Easter holidays after. And I wrote every day, not all day, every day. I don't think I'm capable of that. And it's just such hard, consistent work. The way I did it, it was because I went, I'm writing a book. Surprise. Hadn't really intended to do that in my leave, but I was. And then I would say, I've run out of things to say. And I'd go to sleep and I would wake up and go, oh, I know what it needs. And something happened in my sleep time so often over the term. And it just changed shape and, I need it. Oh, this is important. I need a section on this. And I just let it sort of grow naturally. But it's all about, hopefully, making impact.
What I noticed as I was rereading it this morning is it's so dense in a good way. It's just so value packed. They're just checklists, and you can tell that you listen widely and you read widely, and song quotes. It's not just a throwaway. It's well researched. It stays, like I said, you get a lot of value for the book. It's, sometimes I don't know if you ever read some celebrity books and you're like, wow, that didn't take you so long to write, did it? It feels a little light. And this does not feel, it's an easy read, but I think there's a lot of depth there. And like I said, it does not just, I believe every word, and it does not just apply to music teachers. So I think that's really neat, the way that you did the broader scope for it as well.
Oh, thank you. I love it. And I love that you mentioned the song quotes, because I started writing and the lyrics of a song would, the opening line of a song would pop in my head, and I'm going, I'm a music teacher. I'm going to include that, like as a, and I checked it wasn't breaking copyright to just do a quote of a little bit of and then I went, no, this has got to be a sort of a theme that runs through, because even if you're reading this not as a music teacher, you would have heard most of the songs that I referenced, So I thought that was a little bit of a quirk in there that made it a little more personal, I thought.
I bet that you write the way you talk.
I do.
And so I bet you, yes. And that's a best compliment that I can get as an author is that it sounds conversational. It sounds like me. And like I'm sure the song quotes, you burst out in song quotes all day long. So it was natural to include that in your writing.
Yeah, there's a song for that. It's like our life. We can do that.
There's
And I
always a
must
song for that.
admit, I can tell you that quite a bit of my song was actually written here. Not a bit of my song. Did I say song? Sorry, a
You
bit of
did.
my
You did.
book was written on my phone, and on my morning walks. I would go, oh, oh, and I would put on. Actually, it started with the voice app, and then I just went straight into ChatGPT or Claude, and I just did the microphone on the keyboard and spoke it in. Went, do not change a word of this, and just listen and record it for me. And away I would go. And I even got an app on my laptop that was a voice recorder for a little while there. So not all of it, because I do type quite quickly too. Like I type very well, but it's definitely conversational. And I think that makes it easy to read. This sort of book should be, I think. That's why yours is easy to read and mine is hopefully easy to read. So before we get on to the next question, I'm going to ask our listeners a similar question. Who, or can you think of someone in your life that needs to hear about the impact they've had on you? Send them a quick message. It could be a prac teacher you had, or a parent that really helped out with your music supporters group, or a principal. Like if you had Principal Lamb, you'd probably reach out and say, hey, let's do. So is there someone that you can reach out? Because those messages mean so much. And that person might not have had a particularly good day. And you will just give them that little glimmer that they need to grab onto. So now the next question, we got a couple more questions for this episode. Now, if you could share just one practice from your book, which one would it be? Gee, that's a hard question, isn't it?
It is a hard question. So I'm going to cheat and say another one, but I think Sabbath rest has been huge for me. And it is not to be legalistic. It is a churchy word, but it's, even if you're not churchy, I still think there's benefit there. That was one of the turning points in my life when I really started taking Sabbath seriously. And like I said, I tried to cheat it and work anyway on a Sunday, and it would come out in the seams. Then the rest of the week, I would be edgier. I'd be more tired. As a believer, I feel like I need to trust God with some of the work, and that if I rest that day, it will happen in the other 6 days. And so for me, Sabbath rest, which could look different for everyone, and it's definitely a practice, but that for me is huge. And I remember when I first did it, it was awkward, and I would just kind of pace the house like a caged animal. I just didn't know what to do with myself. That was at our former house. That's been forever. And now I just lean into it, and I look forward to it every single week. So Sabbath all day long. So how about you, Debbie?
Oh, I love it. Well, in the last episode, I mentioned probably sleep would have been the habit, that little practice that I think has great implications. But I also think if I just shared one practice, I'd go find the joy, grab the glimmers, like make the most of that little kid that's picked up a pretty stone on the way to your classroom and gives it to you. And you go, oh, yeah, thank you. Or put it here so everyone can see it. And then at the end of the day, but make the most of those moments where children, and I say that as an educator, of course. So if you're listening to this and you're not a teacher, find the moments in whatever you're doing. On your morning walk, that flower. I know, doesn't that sound cliched? But you see that gorgeous bloom, that colour amongst the green, or the find the joy and take time to notice it and allow it to build that positivity. And I know that it sounds a bit cliched, but because of my book, but it is almost like it's adding glimmers, colour or light or joy to who you are. So I'd say one practice would just be find the joy, find the glimmers, and intentionally take them on board.
If I can piggyback off that, I so agree. And you have to, speaking as a teacher, I think you have to be careful online, because there are posts and groups where it can skew really negative, pardon the grammar. And all of a sudden, everyone is just marinating in their misery and focusing on the downsides of the job all day. And I think when you start to hang out in those waters, you get more like those people you hang around. And before you know it, if you look to be miserable, you can make yourself good and miserable. And like I said, you mentioned the cliche. I mean, I'd rather be positive than miserable. Mm-hmm. I'd rather look for the good than just stew in the yuck of the job. And there's no perfect job anywhere. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I think you get what you look for. So why not look there's enough heartache and suffering and yuck in the world without seeking it out. I'm very sunny about my media, almost to the point of being annoying, Debbie. When people watch some really dark true crime things, I don't know. Is that really what I want to put in my mind and go to sleep thinking about at the end of the day? Is just the darkest, lowest part of humanity? I mean, it doesn't mean like I just sit and watch, Disney princess movies all the time, where I don't watch anything deeper than that. But I think you have to guard your mind and guard what you let into it. And if you're always listening to dark, depressing music and you're in Facebook groups where everyone hates their job, don't be surprised when you're depressed and hate your job.
Yes. And you are you are the sum total of the people that you hang out with. I have sort of got myself off a few Facebook groups over time. And you go, no, not so much for me. So yeah, I agree absolutely. So I think a little call out to our listeners before we go to the last question. What is one practice that you could commit to for the next 7 days? Maybe it's a Sabbath, a resting 1 day a week. My heavens, I confess I do not do that. I should take that on board. Is it getting to bed earlier? Is it finding the joy? Or can you think of a different one that you'd like to do? But why not choose just one little practice that you can do to move towards more joy in your life? And now we're up to our last question. I'm enjoying this, Beth. I hope our listeners are.
I hope they are, but if not, we had a great time, Debbie.
That's right. It's been good for us. All right, here we go. What do you wish you'd known before you wrote your book?
That books don't market themselves. I think something that you do really well, like I said, because I follow you on social media, and like I said, I'm a podcast listener. You are very intentional about marketing your book, the one pager that you sent out, the effort that you have put into it. And, gone are the days where someone has a traditional publishing house and they do all the marketing and you just sit there and write your book and look cute. That's just not our current climate. They are expecting that you are marketing your book and doing a lot of different channels for that. And there's a lot of different noise out there about books, right? Mm-hmm. And people necessarily don't write a review unless you request them to write a review. People are busy. And it's not that they maybe even didn't like the book. They just didn't think to take the time to sit down and do that. Mm-hmm. So the one thing I think is that books don't market themselves. I think we both expressed a desire that we have other books in us. And part of my hesitation is like, dang, I really need to market the first one first before I start dipping my toe in the other waters. So just the marketing, it's not even a drudge. It's just the knowledge that there is a lot of marketing that takes place it's a crowded marketplace, and to get people to part with their hard-earned money for a book takes a lot of marketing and a lot of encouragement and a lot of word of mouth.
A lot of work. I go through stages where I say, right, every day I'm going to do something. I have sent so many emails. I think I did send you a copy of the media kit I put together because I learned, you should have a one-pager about it. So I developed the one-pager. But I am very lucky that I have a team of virtual assistants. Okay, they all work part-time for me. I don't employ them. They're basically on, most of them are on 2 hours a week for me that do various things. So I think there's about 5 on my team. So
that's amazing.
I've had, can I say every cent of Crescendo's profit actually pays my team. I guess I can say that publicly. I don't make money from Crescendo, but the money I make goes to my team so that I can do the things I do. It's sort of I won't say a vicious cycle. It's because it's not vicious, it's fabulous. Anyway, that's a different story. But even with trying to do all of this stuff and having various people helping me in little ways to, the wonderful Katrina did some beautiful social media templates. So we just pop quotes in there. I've just started a TikTok channel for the book only. So because book talk is supposedly a fairly big thing. So I've got very deliberately, it's not Crescendo Music Education and all the things I do. It's just the book. I've just started that so that people might find me there. It's constant. It's mainstream media. It is so much work to do the marketing. And I do believe that even if you get a traditional publisher, and I will confess I have actually just sent off a submission, so I'll know in a couple of months. Look, chances aren't great. I'm not relying on it, but they make it very clear that even if you become one of their authors, they still rely on you and your platform to get the book out. So I'm sure they would do some marketing, obviously, but most of it still comes down to the author. So yeah, like you said, the days of sitting at your beautiful roll top desk.
It is nice.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. Found it in an antique shop. Sitting there just being the muse and writing and then sending it off. Yeah, no, it doesn't happen like that. It is so much work. So yeah, I would answer that too. I wish I knew how much work it would be to market for relatively small results. Is there anything else before I answer the question? Is there anything else you wish you'd known?
I was going to add, and this is just an aside, so I am very fortunate to be an F-Flat Books author. Another F-Flat Books author is Franklin Willis. We are well supported. It's a great place to be, and they are opening their submissions. I believe it's January through March, and they are author-centric, music publishing, so they have a wide tent, digital children's books. They are starting a print label. I'm so thrilled to be affiliated with them. And like I said, I think a lot of us as music teachers, we have a book in our heart and we just talk ourselves out of it. Yeah. And like F-Flat Books has been supportive in every way. And so that would be a great home for people who are listening to this and think they might want to be an author.
Oh, I think that's a great suggestion. Yes. And I have only starting to look into F-Flat Books. So if my Australian traditional publisher doesn't happen, I might look into that myself. And, I think I'd only have one thing to add that I wish I knew before writing. apart from the fact how much it would cost me through self-publishing. But let's not talk about money. The disappointment, the highs and the lows. I wish I had known how low the low could be and how high the high could be. I guess I just wasn't expecting it to be that emotionally dramatic, right? I think that's what I'm trying to say. When I got my first report on how many books were sold, and I just thought, I actually thought it would be more than that. And I went into a bit of a funk for a few days. Nobody knew why, because I didn't tell them.
Right.
And so I guess I wish I'd known that it wasn't going to be instant happy. No, I didn't expect it to be instant happy. Yeah, I guess I'll just leave it as I didn't realise how low the lows would be. But of course, I also didn't realise how high the highs would be. Like when I first opened the box and held a book baby, I just went, and I wrote that, and my picture's on the back.
Yes, it is.
I just, that it's so exciting. And it feels sort of permanent, and it feels real. And so I guess I wish I had known how high and low the process would be.
For sure. So F Flat is an ebook publisher, but now they're going into more print books, is my understanding. If I'm wrong, I was never here. But at the time I was on F Flat, and I was having trouble getting my book into paperback on Kindle publishing. So it was just a little tiny fluke. It was really one keystroke that was giving us trouble, and it kept on getting bounced back. And my family didn't feel like a book was real until you could hold it in your hand. Mm-hmm. And I felt very similar that, like I said, there is nothing like holding that book in your hand and nobody can take it. And the first time I got to sign one, I was on cloud nine. I just thought that was the best. And I don't know about you, but I skew introverted. And I didn't realize it so much until I got older. But for a podcaster, well, I can sit in a room and talk to myself, and I can pour out my thoughts and feelings in a book. So it's actually kind of a great gig for an introverted person to be an author and a podcaster.
Well, I'm sort of the quintessential extrovert. So for me to sit and write a book was...
Are you?
It was difficult. I'd much rather be with people and out there. So interesting. But we both got there in the end.
What matters is that you get there. You mentioned the text to speech when you were writing. I actually used it as an editing tool. Oh. So I typed, but when I was going back to editing, I went through and read it on text to speech, and those errors will just pop out when you hear it like that read back to you. So I had a traditional editor, but the text to speech was very helpful, and I wouldn't write anymore without it for the editing piece to catch some of those errors.
Do you know what? I have never thought of text to speech. I did speech to text. I've never thought of text to speech. Oh, I'm so glad I talked to you. That's gonna be a game changer if I ever get to the second book. It has a title. I know what I want to do, but I'm facing another year of full-time teaching at 2 schools with so much on, and campaigning for music education that's fairly full on. And I think it will have to wait until I have more time. So maybe in a year. Mind you, I'm still jotting down points, but I'm not up to
there you go
writing. So, and I think
I'm fully there. Yeah, go ahead.
You're fully there. So are you writing your next one?
I am not, but I am there with you talking about having the delay. I think not every season is ours. I think for us, we don't lack for ideas, right? But I think maybe not every season is our season. because if you put a book on top of what you have going on right now, I think you really would be miserable. But in a year, it might be the perfect time and it will just flow and you can spend the whole year percolating the ideas. Here is what I have on my heart, and I have not done anything with it yet. And this may not be the time. I'm pursuing national board certification, which is really time consuming. So I have forbidden myself from adding one more thing on my plate this year. But I would love to do a series of books about the music classroom through a teaching lens for children. So for like SEL stories, like SEL stories on how we behave when we folk dance, or how we behave when we're singing by ourselves, or any, how we play instruments correctly in the music room, but making it a social story where the teacher teaches the norms and music teachers could use it to teach those things. And now that I've spoken out in the air with you, I need to go with it.
Yes. Well, that's that step towards accountability, isn't it? That would be magic. You would possibly have to work with an illustrator for that, do you think?
I would need an illustrator. And like I said, running through a few things, it sounds like it tracks better with children as the characters than animals. But I have the sayings that I say repeatedly with my students in class. Yes. I mean, it is right on the tip of my tongue. But yes, I know that writing a children's book is a totally different animal. And like I said, to have the time and energy for it, I really want to knock out this national board, get it put to bed, and then look at that and focus on it.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Oh, I love it. Beth, I have so enjoyed our chat, and I've loved delving a little bit into our books. And of course, I know in my show notes, I'll put all of the links there so people can go and purchase the books, write us reviews, please, pretty please. Do all of those things. That would be amazing. And before we go, I'm going to just ask the listeners. I nearly said the readers. Okay, well, hopefully they're readers and listeners. Yes. I would like them to think about one creative project. By the way, it doesn't have to be as big as a book, because that's big. Right. Is there a creative project you've been putting off that you really, it's in your heart, you really want to do it? Like I put off podcasting for, I don't know, 6 years or something. I want to podcast. I want to. And I just kept putting it off because it seemed too hard. It actually wasn't. But not as hard as I thought it would be. So is there one creative project that you've been putting off? And maybe just take the first little step, just some research or an outline or a brainstorm, start a Word doc, stick it in a folder. Here's my ideas. Take one little step towards your creative project. That's my challenge to all of our listeners.
I love that challenge. I think for us, especially the way we're wired as music teachers, we were so in touch with that in college, right? We were just feeling creative and jazzed all the time. And then something about us just turned into this worker bee where we just got up and went to work and came back. And then some of us might use a scripted curriculum or a very, prepackaged, and we're not letting our creativity flow. And for a lot of us, I think when it's turned inward, we get sad or we get anxious or not the nice feelings when we're not creatively putting things out, when we're very creative people. And even those of us who think we aren't, we really are. Mm-hmm. So I love that challenge.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I think that is a very positive, wonderful way to finish. And Beth, thank you so much for the chat today. I've enjoyed it immensely.
Me too, friend. We got to do this more often than every 2 years, but it's been great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, maybe we'll make it in a year, not 2 years next time.
There we go.
Make it annual. Thank you so much, Beth.
Annual.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Debbie. Thank you.
As we know, laughter relieves stress. Don't lose sight of the funny side of life. whatever you do, don't spell part backwards. It's a trap. Thank you so much for watching our Crescendo Music Education Podcast. For more information about all things Crescendo, including membership and music education resources, visit us at crescendo.com.au. Don't forget to like and subscribe.